Do you take the bus to school? Have you flew on a plane? What about a family road trip in a car? Or even taking the train? Transportation is anything that helps you to carry, move, or convey from one place to another. All of these things help you to be able to do that. Have you ever rode on a bike that looks similar to this one? Would you believe me if I told you that bikes used to look like this one? Well, it's true. All forms of transportation have changed over time, making traveling easier. Can you believe the first form of transportation was walking? And now we have spaceships. Inventors are working even harder to create better methods of transportation. Let's go on a journey of the evolution of transportation so we can see how transportation started and how it reached this point where it is today.
The very beginnings of transportation in Michigan and around the world were powered by what these people had, muscle power. This means that the transportation they had was powered by either the people themselves or animals. As seen here, people would walk where they needed to go using tools such as snowshoes. Another method of transportation would be a canoe, as seen here, which would be powered by many men rowing. This would allow people to travel across and with water. This particular canoe is a birchback canoe, which was strong and light and worked well for carrying goods and people hundreds of miles and was used during the fur trade. Other popular methods of muscle-powered transportation that were created were horse-drawn carriages that would carry people and goods, and bicycles for individual use.
A lot of the challenges that were caused by relying on muscle power for transportation had to do with the time it took to travel far distances. In order to solve some of these problems and make faster transportation possible, the steam engine was invented. One of the largest results of the invention of the steam engine was the development of the steam-powered train, which provided the necessary tools to transport large loads of goods and people farther distances in shorter times. Railroads in Michigan expanded greatly in the late 1800s and early 1900s. By 1900, the train was the most popular form of transportation for long-distance travel, and at that point, 7,945 miles of railroad crisscrossed all across the state of Michigan. The train was so useful in transporting goods and provided such an economic advantage that towns would compete to be located along railroad tracks.
Combustion power, otherwise known as burning fuel, became popular in Michigan in the early 1900s due to the invention of the automobile. Although the first automobile was not invented in Michigan, the auto industry really took off in Detroit due to the production of the Model T and the development of the assembly line and companies such as Ford. Another use of combustion power was during World War I and World War II. During World War I, there was a high demand for military vehicles. Times changed during World War II as airplanes were being used as transportation and to carry out an airstrike. As seen here, several warplanes were produced and used a gasoline engine. Overall, the efficiency of transportation in Michigan greatly increased with the use of combustion power.
Transportation throughout history has continued to change and evolve in order to solve the problems that arose from earlier methods of transportation. Walking, while available to most everyone, is not as fast as riding a bike. Taking a train requires there to be tracks and limits access to areas that do not have tracks. So we have automobiles and roads to access many more areas, and airplanes that allow for faster travel across the country and world. This gives access to products and travel opportunities for many that otherwise would be impossible. Yet civilization still struggles to find solutions to the problems that our current transportation methods cause. What problems do you see with transportation in Michigan today? Limited amounts of fossil fuels are available to continue continue fueling automobiles and airplanes, causing gasoline prices to rise. Running these engines, drilling for oil, and the factories that refine these fuels so we can use them cause pollution and negatively affects our environment. In recent years, there has been much progress to find alternatives that would be less harmful to our environment, such as hybrid vehicles, solar-powered transportation, and alternative fuel sources. Until these methods are widely developed and used, consider past methods of transportation and how we can instead use them to limit the environmental damage to the world.